Have you ever noticed how the most honest, hardworking, and humble people are often the ones who struggle the most? They wake up early, show up on time, work with quiet dedication, and treat others with dignity. They follow the rules, take ownership of their mistakes, and never demand special treatment. These are the people we admire, but rarely reward. Their lives remain steady, modest, and painfully invisible. No recognition, no breakthrough, just quiet persistence in a world that seems not to notice. Meanwhile, others, those who bend the rules, shift blame, play the game, rise through the ranks with startling ease. They charm, perform, manipulate, and the world applauds. They gather wealth, influence, admiration sometimes, even from those who know better. It begins to feel like there's a secret rule book the world follows, one that no one talks about, but everyone learns to obey. A rule book that doesn't reward character, it exploits it. We're raised to believe that virtue leads to reward, that if you tell the truth, work hard, and remain humble, life will eventually recognize and repay you. But what if that's not how the world works? What if that comforting belief is less a truth and more a sedative? Something to keep you docile, predictable, and easy to use? Because here's what no one tells you. Honesty without power isn't respected, it's managed. You become easy to read, easy to predict, easy to control. Your integrity becomes a tool for others, not a shield for yourself. They will lean on your reliability, burden you with responsibilities, and when the pressure breaks you, they'll simply move on. You'll be praised for your moral compass, but left alone when it no longer serves the system. So we must ask, why do we celebrate the honest in words, but ignore them in action? Why do the good stay overlooked, while the cunning rise? The answer is not personal, it's structural. In a world governed by power, morality without strength becomes servitude. You don't rise by being good. You rise by being effective. And unless your goodness has teeth, unless your honesty is paired with strategy, the world will not bend to you. It will bury you. History is littered with the names of principled people who died broke, isolated, forgotten. Not because they lacked value, but because they lacked armor. They brought their integrity to a battlefield, but left their defenses at home. The world, indifferent to their virtue, moved on without them. This is not a call to abandon honesty. It's a call to understand its cost. Because honesty, without clarity and strength, is vulnerability. And in systems designed around control, vulnerability is not honored, it's exploited. You don't get admired for being good. You get expected to be good, to take the fall, to clean up the mess, to keep the machine running quietly. And so we must see the game for what it is. Not to become dishonest, but to stop being naive. To realize that being honest in a world built on manipulation is not enough. You have to know how to defend it. You have to learn to hold your ground, not just morally, but tactically. Because without that balance, you're not an example, you're a sacrifice. In a world ruled by perception, not truth, honesty doesn't earn you protection. It marks you for management. We like to think of honesty as noble, but in practice, it often becomes a quiet invitation to be used. If you're unwilling to lie, you're predictable. If you're morally consistent, you're convenient. And convenience, in a system obsessed with control, is a vulnerability. Your sense of duty becomes someone else's shield. Your unwillingness to bend the truth becomes their advantage. They know you won't retaliate. They know you'll take the blame. And so you do, again and again, while they step around consequence and walk straight into reward. It's not personal, it's structural. Because power doesn't reward virtue, it exploits it. In systems where winning is everything, integrity is not an asset unless it serves the outcome. That's not just an idea, it's observable. In 2018, a study from Duke University found that people with strong moral values are more likely to be placed in low-power roles. Why? Because we unconsciously associate morality with obedience. The more ethical you are, the more you're expected to be silent, to take direction, to hold the line while others move freely. And the result is devastating, not just for the individual, but for the world they serve. Think of John Boyd, one of the sharpest minds the U.S. military ever produced. A fighter pilot, a strategist, a visionary, but above all, he was honest. Unflinchingly so. He didn't play politics. He didn't flatter egos. He didn't trade truth for influence. And because of that, he was buried, not physically but professionally, hidden within a system that couldn't afford his clarity. Boyd revolutionized air combat, but he refused to sell himself. And so the system sold him out. No awards, no recognition, no legacy, except among a few who understood the price he paid. His fate wasn't an anomaly. It was a pattern that repeats across industries, across institutions, across generations. The honest don't get promoted. They get replaced, quietly, efficiently. This is why telling young people to just work hard and do the right thing is dangerously incomplete. It's not wrong, but it's not enough. If we send people into a game without showing them how it's played, we're not teaching them virtue, we're setting them up for sacrifice. Honesty without strategy is not strength, it's exposure. It's walking into a room full of predators wearing a sign that says, "I want to fight back." That's not bravery. That's unpreparedness. And the world doesn't give points for innocence. It gives power to those who know how to protect what matters most, not just in principle, but in practice. So let's be honest about honesty. Let's admit that it can hurt, that it can cost you everything if you don't know how to defend it. And let's stop pretending that being good will save you, when being good without wisdom will only make you easier to use. So what actually happens to the honest person in a world that runs on strategy, perception, and leverage? They don't just lose by chance, they lose by design. Not because their honesty was wrong, but because it was unprotected and shaped by silent, inherited assumptions. Most good people don't fall because they're weak. They fall because they've been taught 3 dangerous beliefs that quietly sabotage their power. Belief 1, justice is automatic. That if you work hard, stay honest, and do the right thing, life will naturally reward you. But that's not reality. That's programming. Justice doesn't happen by default. It's constructed by those who combine principles with power. Without power, morality isn't justice. It's hope with no traction. Waiting for fairness in a world designed for competition is not faith, it's neglect. Belief 2, fighting is wrong. Many honest people avoid confrontation because they confuse assertiveness with aggression. They think that setting boundaries makes them difficult, so they stay quiet. They accommodate. They let others take more than their share. But silence isn't virtue, it's fear dressed in politeness. In a world that rewards dominance, passivity isn't grace, it's surrender. Belief 3, saying no is selfish. Good people often tie their self-worth to how much they can give. Time, energy, emotional labor, they say yes to it all. But when you always say yes to others, you're constantly saying no to yourself. And without boundaries, kindness becomes a currency others spend until there's nothing left. Together, these beliefs build a prison, one that looks noble from the outside, but slowly breaks you from within. You're admired for your sacrifice, but quietly discarded when it no longer serves the system. Because people who won't protect their own values get used to serve someone else's. So let's get clear. You're not struggling because you're kind. You're struggling because you were conditioned to believe that kindness was all you needed, that conscience alone would carry you. But in this world, conscience without clarity becomes someone else's opportunity. That's the paradox. Your strength, your morality, is what gives you value. But if it isn't backed by strategy, it becomes the very reason others exploit you. So the real question is not, can you be good? That's easy. The real question is, can you be good and not be broken? An answering that requires a shift, away from blind obedience, away from inherited ideals, toward something stronger, sharper honesty with armor. So how do honest people survive in a world built for those who manipulate, maneuver, and charm? How do you stay true to your values without being quietly erased? The answer is not to abandon honesty. It's to redefine how it's used, not as a passive virtue, but as an active force. Because the world doesn't hand power to those with good intentions. It hands it to those who know how to command it. And that means honest people need to stop waiting for recognition and start designing strategy. First, turn your integrity into leverage. Stop treating your values like a secret burden. Make them visible. Make them consistent. Build a reputation so strong, so aligned, that people know exactly who you are, especially in a room full of liars. Your truth should not be a whisper. It should be a brand. Not a performance, but a presence. Second, build real, irreplaceable value. Don't play for applause, play for substance. While others chase influence, build foundation. While they fake strength, cultivate it for real. Make yourself so competent, so necessary, that your ethics don't make you seem soft, they make you essential. Look at Viktor Frankl. He didn't survive the Holocaust by mirroring cruelty. He survived by anchoring himself in meaning. And more than that, he taught. He turned his pain into purpose. He didn't just endure. He built something that still moves people today. His honesty didn't weaken him. It made him unforgettable. Or take Theodore Roosevelt. He was fierce, relentless, ambitious, but grounded in principle. He didn't apologize for his strength, and he didn't abandon his moral compass. He once said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." That wasn't about violence. It was about presence. Quiet confidence backed by real capability. That's power. And that brings us to the third principle. Become dangerous in your clarity. Not cruel, not manipulative, but utterly unshakable. Let your values be disciplined. Let your honesty be sharp. Don't perform virtue, embody it. Not because it looks good, but because it works. Because when your character becomes your strength, when your silence carries weight, when your word lands with impact, you stop asking for space. You become the space. You don't have to scream for power. You walk in, and the room adjusts to your presence. That's what honest people need to remember. Integrity isn't weakness. It's strength waiting to be weaponized. But only if you have the clarity and strategy to wield it. So how does it end? Can someone truly be good and still stand strong in a world like this? A world that rewards image over substance and performance over principle? Yes, but only if you stop expecting the world to reward you for your goodness and start learning how to protect it with strength. This is where Arthur Schopenhauer becomes more than a philosopher. He becomes a mirror. He didn't sell hope. He didn't decorate suffering. He simply told the truth. Life is not fair, and it was never meant to be. And when you stop pretending otherwise, something incredible happens. You stop being a victim of your own values. Schopenhauer believed in a world driven not by justice, but by will. A blind, raw force beneath everything, from biology to business to politics. And in that world, goodness doesn't win by default. It gets tested. And often, it gets crushed unless it learns how to move through the fire without turning to ash. You are not struggling because you're honest. You are struggling because you were taught that honesty meant silence. That goodness required self-erasure. That being ethical meant stepping aside while others took the lead. But that's not virtue. That's social training designed to keep you small. The world does not need more obedient, broken good people. It needs a new kind of strength. One that holds the line without being naive. One that refuses to be used, but doesn't become the user. The people who truly change the world are rarely the loudest or most ruthless. They are the ones who unite conscience and clarity, integrity and insight. They don't apologize for their values, but they also don't confuse kindness with submission. They walk into broken systems and don't conform, they transform. They know who they are, and because of that, they move with precision. They don't seek permission to be whole. They don't ask the world to give them a place. They bring their presence, and the world adjusts. So if you feel exhausted from doing the right thing, if honesty feels heavy in a world obsessed with performance, know this: you are not weak. You are carrying something real in a culture built on illusion. But you don't have to carry it alone. You can be strategic. You can be sharp. You can protect your truth without sacrificing it. Let your integrity speak softly, but carry the sharpest mind in the room. Because when you pair honesty with strength, silence with weight, and truth with presence, you don't just survive the game. You change it.